Across the vast and unforgiving African savanna, survival is not a guarantee, it is a daily battle. Each sunrise signals the beginning of new conflicts where life is quietly placed on the line amid burning dust and an unrelenting sun. No species is truly safe here. Every step forward can mean another chance to live, or the first step toward the end. Predators wait with calculated patience, measuring every movement and every mistake. For them, failure brings hunger, weakness, and eventually death. Prey in turn learn to exist under constant pressure. Their senses, sharpened muscles remain coiled, and when escape is no longer possible, they fight with whatever strength remains, even when the odds are stacked against them. In this world without pause, everything has a cost. Energy drains quickly, wounds do not always heal, and exhaustion becomes an enemy as real as any predator. There are no rules and no mercy. The savanna is a proving ground where only those willing to risk everything, their strength, their instincts, and sometimes their very lives, can endure. This is the wild heart of Africa, a realm where courage and sacrifice shape every fate, and where survival is written day after day through danger, resolve, and decisions made at the very edge of life. At first light, a male warthog scrapes at the ground, searching for roots beneath the dry soil. He is not known for elegance or raw power. Suddenly, he stands unknowingly within the territory of one of the savanna's most feared hunters. His small eyes scan the surroundings, his ears twitch constantly. Only a few meters away, a hungry lioness lies hidden in the bushes. She has not eaten for days and must find food for her cubs. Every step she takes is a silent risk, yet the warthog remains unaware of her presence. The wind shifts, carrying a warning on its breath. In an instant, the warthog catches the scent of danger. The lioness charges. The warthog explodes into motion, sprinting through the tall grass at speeds approaching 48 kilometers per hour, weaving sharply from side to side. As he runs, he flashes his sharp tusks in a final display of defiance. The chase is short. Exhausted, the lioness abandons the pursuit. Moments later, the warthog slows, returning calmly to his search for food as if nothing had happened. Speed, awareness, and sharp instincts are his true weapons in a land that shows no mercy. Warthogs are resilient inhabitants of the Serengeti's harsh plains. Their tusks, which can grow up to 25 centimeters long, serve both as tools for digging and as formidable defenses. The thick pads on their faces, often called warts, act as natural protection during fights. Rather than digging their own burrows, warthogs take over abandoned tunnels made by aardvarks or porcupines, reinforcing them for safety. When they enter, they back in, positioning their tusks toward the entrance, so any intruder must face them head-on. Under the blazing sun, warthogs roll in mud to cool their bodies, and the drying layer of clay also shields their skin. Smaller animals such as mongooses often climb onto their backs, feeding on ticks and insects. Their diet is remarkably flexible, ranging from dry grass and roots to scraps left behind by other animals. This adaptability allows warthogs to remain in the Serengeti during the dry season long after many species have moved on. But when the rains return, life surges back, and so do the most dangerous predators. A mother warthog watches over her young only a few weeks old, guiding them carefully as they learn to dig for food. In the distance, 3 lionesses observe in silence. The piglets are easy targets. Sensing the threat, the mother quickly herds her young back toward the burrow. She positions herself at the entrance, kicking dirt backward to deter the approaching lions. They attempt to dig their way inside, but fail. What they do not realize is that the mother has already prepared for this moment. A hidden secondary exit angled sharply and concealed by vegetation becomes the family's escape. One by one, the piglets follow their mother through the narrow tunnel, emerging safely beyond the reach of danger. In the relentless world of the savanna, warthogs survive not through strength alone, but through endurance, awareness, and strategies as clever as they are effective. On the savanna, there is another kind of fighter, fast, precise yet exposed. The cheetah, the fastest land animal on Earth, is built for speed rather than strength. A symbol of acceleration and agility, cheetahs usually hunt alone. But on rare occasions, an unusual alliance forms. 3 cheetahs come together, moving with shared intent. They slip quietly through the tall grass, fixing their attention on a wildebeest that has strayed from the safety of the herd. Each takes a position, tightening the circle with calculated calm. In an instant, the chase erupts. They surge forward, reaching speeds of up to 112 kilometers per hour. No signals are exchanged. Instinct and experience guide every movement. Yet the savanna never offers a reward without a challenge. Drawn by the scent of the kill, a group of spotted hyenas approaches. This time, the cheetahs do not retreat. They stand their ground, growling and holding formation. Their unity becomes a shield. Faced with a coordinated defense, the scavengers hesitate and pull back. Here, cooperation makes the difference between losing everything and surviving another day. Not every cheetah is supported by allies. In the vast openness of the savanna, a female cheetah gives birth alone. Her litter of 5 cubs is born fragile and helpless. For their first week, their eyes remain closed, and it will take nearly 3 months before they are strong enough to run beside their mother. The odds are harsh. Nearly 90% of cheetah cubs do not survive past their first 3 months, falling victim to predators or starvation. To protect them, the mother hides her cubs deep within the grass, constantly moving them from place to place to avoid detection. She hunts alone, forced to leave them behind as she searches for food. At dawn, she manages to bring down a gazelle and returns with her prize. But the savanna shows no mercy. Danger is always close, especially for the young. When she returns, only 4 cubs remain. The 5th is gone. After a frantic search, the truth becomes clear. Baboons, intelligent and ruthless opportunists, have taken the missing cub. The mother approaches the trees where they linger and watches them carefully. She confronts them with presence alone, but does not attack. A single injury could doom the 4 cubs she still has. When the baboons react, she withdraws. Carrying the weight of loss, she returns to her remaining young, wounded but resolute. In the wild, survival leaves no room for grief, only the strength to keep going for those still alive. The African buffalo, one of the most imposing herbivores on the continent, is also one of the most relentlessly hunted. Its massive horns serve as a living shield against lions, and its sheer strength is the backbone of the herd's defense. Yet against its most modern predator, these ancient defenses are often no longer enough. An adult male can stand up to 1.7 meters tall and weigh around 730 kilograms. Its physical power is legendary. With a solid muscular body and an unyielding determination to protect its own, the African buffalo is considered the strongest grazer in Africa. Its thick, dark coat helps shield it from the harsh sun, but its survival is inseparably tied to water. Rarely does it stray more than 16 kilometers from rivers, lagoons, or swampy areas. What truly sets the buffalo apart, however, is its uncompromising strategy of collective defense. At the first sign of danger, the herd closes ranks instantly. Calves are pushed toward the center while adults form a solid wall of bodies and horns ready to confront any threat head-on. In unity, the buffalo finds its greatest weapon and its best chance to survive. A pale golden light spreads gently across the endless plains like a quiet promise offered to the land. Dew clings to the grass and glimmers as the last traces of night fade away. Shadows cast by trees and wandering herds begin to shift, slowly awakening as darkness retreats. Here, an ancient cycle begins once more. Within this world of renewal, one figure rises above all others, the lion sovereign of the savanna. Its authority is not defined by strength alone, but by family and unity. True power here is born from cooperation. Calm, watchful, and majestic, the lion's presence seems to still the landscape itself. This is its realm, a place where courage is measured not only through combat but through the ability to protect, and where the young learn by observing and staying close to one another. A pride is far more than a simple gathering of lions. It is a structured and resilient society guided by unwritten laws that shape survival and legacy. At the heart of this system stand the lionesses, sisters, mothers, and tireless hunters. They are the architects of this world. Together they form a living network of cooperation bound by blood, experience, and instinct. A successful hunt is never the achievement of a single lioness, but the shared result of the pride working together. A newborn cub does not belong only to its mother. It is the responsibility of the entire group. Lionesses rotate roles, nursing, guarding, and instructing one another's young. For the cubs, life begins as play, chasing, wrestling, and practicing movements that will later become vital tools for survival. But on the savanna, no victory lasts forever. With the next day comes a new struggle. The male lions serve as the pride's defenders. Their sheer size and powerful roars create a living shield against threats. Yet dominance here is never permanent. Power shifts with time, and for every reigning king, there is always another challenger waiting for the chance to take his place. On the savanna, no feast lasts forever. With the next sunrise, the struggle begins again. The male lions stand as the pride's shield. Their massive frames and thunderous roars rise like living walls against danger. Yet power here is never fixed. Rule is temporary, and every leader must one day face a challenger. Young males cast out from their birth prides wander the wild lands alone. Over time, they grow stronger, driven by hunger and the urge to claim a future of their own. When they return, the plains seem to tremble. Night erupts into chaos. Deep roars tear through the darkness, answered by equally fierce calls. The air vibrates as voices collide. The clash is brutal. Claws rake, teeth sink deep, and heavy bodies slam together with raw force. This is not a contest of finesse, but of endurance, rage, and will. In the end, only one truth remains. The victor claims the pride, the females, and the right to shape the next generation. The defeated vanishes into the vast wilderness. Even kings are not spared from challenge. As darkness settles, other eyes are watching. Hyenas linger at the edges, clever and tireless, waiting for the moment when lions are worn down after a hunt. Alone, a hyena poses little threat. Together, they become a relentless tide of jaws and persistence, capable of stealing a hard-won kill from an entire pride. Above them, vultures circle endlessly, patient scavengers drawn by weakness, injury, and death. Their silent vigil is a reminder that even in victory, lions are never truly alone. Yet perhaps the most dangerous rival is neither thief nor scavenger. The African buffalo, massive, unpredictable, and armed with horns like spears, can turn a hunter into prey in a single instant. Across the Golden Plains, buffalo move in immense herds. For lions, they are both prize and peril, a vital source of food that demands absolute precision and courage. From a distance, the pride watches, muscles tight, eyes locked. A buffalo is no ordinary target. Its horns can tear flesh and its charge can shatter bone. When the clash comes, it is explosive, a violent collision of predator and prey where every second can decide life or death. To bring down large prey, lions must hunt as a single unified force. They spread out, apply constant pressure, single out the weakest target, and deliver a precise final strike. In the unforgiving African savanna, such coordination is essential. Sharing this harsh stage is another master of survival, the spotted hyena. Shaped by more than 10 million years of evolution, it has carved out its own powerful role among Africa's top predators. Built to endure rather than to sprint, the spotted hyena carries a dense, muscular frame engineered for stamina and strength, allowing it to thrive through relentless effort where others would fail. Its distinctive sloping posture is not a flaw, but a powerful advantage. This body shape allows the spotted hyena to move efficiently across rough, uneven ground, conserving energy over long distances. The African savanna is its stronghold, stretching from the open grasslands of East Africa to the dry, semi-arid reaches of the Kalahari Desert in Botswana. According to a 2023 assessment by the IUCN, the global population of spotted hyenas is estimated to range between 27,000 and 47,000 individuals. Yet strength alone does not define this predator. The true power of the spotted hyena lies in its remarkably complex social system. It lives in large, strictly matriarchal clans that can number more than 100 members. In the darkness of the savanna, its famous laugh is not random noise nor a sign of chaos. It is a living social map carried through sound. Each call is unique, identifying the individual and signaling its position within the clan's intricate hierarchy. This vocal language conveys identity status and intent used to summon allies or reinforce rank in a world that is both brutal and highly organized. At the top stands the alpha female whose authority shapes every aspect of clan life. This matriarchal order is more than social structure. It is a survival strategy refined over millions of years. Spotted hyenas are far more than scavengers. They are intelligent, calculated hunters capable of bringing down large and dangerous prey. Their cooperation and communication rival those of some primates, underscoring their evolutionary success. Even so, their future is not guaranteed. Habitat loss and growing conflict with humans now pose serious challenges to one of Africa's most resilient and misunderstood predators. Under the scorching African sun, where waves of golden grass stretch endlessly toward the horizon, a silent and carefully planned ambush begins to unfold. Spotted shapes hug the ground, gliding through the low vegetation like unseen currents of air. A group of lionesses is on the move. Their focus is locked onto a herd of zebras traveling in apparent calm. To the hunters, zebras are often familiar targets, easy to spot, moving in large groups that can fracture under pressure. They are herbivores, seemingly lacking long-range defenses. Yet this assumption is deceptive. One young zebra drifts away from the herd. Smaller, slower, and no longer shielded by the group, it appears to be the perfect choice, low risk, high reward. None of the lionesses anticipate how abruptly this hunt will turn. A sudden, powerful strike delivered with both hind legs and the force of a coiled spring changes everything. The lioness is stunned, the impact landing on her head or jaw. Such a reaction was never expected from prey like a zebra. When an animal confronts its predator, survival does not rely on strength or speed alone. It rests on three core pillars of defense: instinct, reflex, and adaptive learning. These responses unfold in fractions of a second. Behind every sprint, every kick, and even moments of frozen stillness lies millions of years of refined evolution. Instinctive behavior consists of genetically encoded action sequences. It requires no training, no prior experience, yet it is executed with precision from the very first encounter. When a zebra lashes out to create an opening and escape, the movement is anything but random. It is an innate motor pattern, pre-programmed and triggered the instant danger is detected from behind. These instinct-driven actions are rigid and highly focused, designed for one purpose alone: survival at any cost. Reflexes operate on an even more immediate level. Governed by neural reflex arcs, they bypass conscious thought almost entirely. Simple in design, they are among the most effective responses in nature. A zebra's kick may seem insignificant compared to the claws of a lion or the speed of a cheetah, yet it ranks among the most effective countermeasures used by large herbivores. It doesn't need to be fatal. Accuracy and timing delivered through pain are often enough to reverse the outcome. Anatomy plays a decisive role. Zebras possess an exceptionally powerful musculoskeletal structure around the hips. The muscles of the thighs and gluteal region are among the strongest in the herbivore world, capable of producing explosive force. Their hooves, hard as stone and made of dense keratin, present a small but incredibly durable striking surface, like a concentrated hammer blow. When attacked from behind, a zebra uses both hind legs, delivering straight or slightly angled kicks, adjusting the trajectory with remarkable precision to meet the position of its attacker. In 2024, Namibia endured its most severe drought in more than 100 years. Across Etosha, waterholes nearly vanished. Hippopotamuses became stranded in shrinking pools of drying mud. Then in early 2025, the rains finally returned, and with them renewal. Grasslands flushed green once more. Giraffes and rarer species such as the black-faced impala took advantage of the sudden abundance, feeding eagerly as the land recovered. But this relief is temporary. From May to October, the dry season tightens its grip on the park with relentless heat. Daytime temperatures often climb between 35 and 48 degrees Celsius. Natural water sources fade away almost completely. As water becomes scarce, herbivores are forced to gather at the few remaining oases. Their numbers draw predators in close, turning these lifelines into unavoidable arenas of tension and conflict. Among the giants that endure these harsh conditions is the black rhinoceros. Powerfully built, it can reach up to 1.5 meters at the shoulder and weigh well over a ton. Two horns growing continuously throughout its life serve as essential tools for defense. Despite its name, its skin is a dark gray, often coated in dust. A pointed prehensile upper lip allows it to pluck tender leaves from thorny shrubs with precision. Remarkably, it can survive for days without drinking, drawing most of the moisture it needs from the plants it consumes, an adaptation finely tuned to life in an arid landscape. Its eyesight is poor, but the black rhino lives in a world shaped by scent. For this largely solitary animal, communication is written into the land itself. Dung piles are not random waste. They are shared records, a living archive of smells pressed into the soil. They reveal who has passed through, their strength, their intentions, and even their readiness to mate. This silent exchange forms an invisible social network guiding movement and behavior across an ancient territory. Even so, the dry season remains a relentless test. Artificial water holes like the one at Ocauquejo become critical sanctuaries. Here, even the normally solitary black rhino must tolerate the presence of others. At night, under the soft glow of floodlights, its massive silhouette emerges. With steady, deliberate steps, it approaches the water, asserting its presence without sound, yet with unmistakable authority. By 2023, Namibia was home to more than 2,200 black rhinos, with over 70% of them found within Etosha National Park. This concentration, however, comes at a cost. High densities increase the risk of poaching. Despite the efforts of dedicated rangers, GPS tracking, drone surveillance, and even the controversial removal of horns, the black rhino faces a threat greater than any natural predator, human greed persistent and unrelenting. In the murky currents of the Zambezi River, a colossal predator lies hidden in absolute stillness. This is the Nile crocodile, the largest reptile in Africa. Unlike many hunters, it does not need to feed every day. Its highly efficient metabolism allows it to survive for weeks, sometimes even longer, without a single meal. Lower Zambezi National Park is one of its strongholds. Here, survival depends as much on patience as on raw power. A crocodile can remain motionless for hours, even days, blending perfectly with water and shadow while waiting for the precise moment. When an unsuspecting animal steps too close to the river's edge, there is no warning. In a fraction of a second, the surface explodes. Jaws snap shut and the victim is dragged beneath the water. Resistance is futile. With a bite force reaching nearly 22,000 newtons, the Nile crocodile possesses one of the most powerful jaws in the natural world. Far from the riverbanks, another African sanctuary tells a different story. Often called the jewel of Namibia, Etosha National Park is home to 4 of the continent's Big Five: the elephant, the lion, the leopard, and the critically endangered black rhinoceros. Together, these landscapes reveal the raw intensity and fragile balance of Africa's wild heart, where power, patience, and survival are written into every moment. As night settles over the African savanna and the dust slowly returns to the wounded earth, the marks of conflict remain. Every struggle here is more than violence. It is a desperate choice to exist one more day. Each species has learned the same hard truth: survival demands a heavy price, paid in energy, safety, and often in life itself. Courage and sacrifice are not optional here. They are the cost of living. Yet these battles are not meaningless chaos. They are part of an ancient and delicate balance where every predator and every prey plays a role that cannot be replaced. When one life ends, another continues. When one species disappears, the entire system trembles. Protecting the savanna does not mean stopping the struggle. It means preserving the stage where nature can follow its course whole and unhindered. The true danger is not the hunter, but the loss of habitat, the silence that follows when there is no one left to fight. To understand these wild conflicts is also a call to human responsibility. To conserve, respect, and defend these lands where life is forged under extreme conditions. As long as the savanna still breathes, the story of survival will continue to be written with courage, risk, and sacrifice. If this journey into the wild heart of Africa has moved you and sparked reflection, support our work. Like the video and subscribe to Beast Call Nature to keep exploring, understanding, and protecting the untamed world of wildlife. In the heart of Kruger National Park, life follows ancient and unforgiving rules. Survival here is not optional, it is a demand imposed by nature itself. Creatures that move in packs travel as a single force, unified, disciplined, and fierce. Their bond serves as both shield and weapon. Every synchronized stride, every shared glance, broadcasts a clear message across the savanna: they stand together. This collective strength commands respect, yet it also instills fear in those watching from afar. For predators, a pack represents danger. For prey, it forms a living barrier capable of withstanding even the most ruthless hunters. Within Kruger, the pride of belonging to a group can determine whether an animal lives or dies. Yet this same confidence invites inevitable challenges. Where power exists, confrontation follows. Where unity forms, conflict emerges. Beneath the relentless sun and amid the tall grass, every encounter becomes a trial, and any clash can erupt into war without warning. Which wild animal would prevail in a battle between wild dogs and hyenas? The dry season brings waves of hot air sweeping across the savanna of Kruger National Park from the moment the sun rises. After an exhausting night searching for food, many animals have already surrendered to rest. Others, however, are just beginning their morning journey to satisfy a hunger that never relents. The African wild dog has already secured its first meal of the day without fanfare or intimidating sounds, only flawless organization. They could be compared to a wilderness troop guided by absolute discipline. Watching them eat reveals a familial harmony: no fights, no chaos. Glances alone suffice for communication. This silent empathy becomes the supreme law, a serene order in an environment dominated by fangs and claws. Yet opportunists drawn to the feast are never far behind. The atmosphere grows tense like guitar strings about to snap. Does the African wild dog retreat out of fear? No. It is prudence. Every member of the pack is invaluable. Risking a life for a single meal is not in their nature. In fact, this species obtains food more efficiently than any other predator on the savanna. Meanwhile, deep inside an ancient den, exhaustion from hunger has weakened a tired mother. Her fatigue is unmistakable. The pups seem like bottomless pits. Biologically speaking, they belong to what scientists call obligate cooperative breeders. The African wild dog is in many ways the African equivalent of the gray wolf. Here, no one is abandoned. Only the alpha pair reproduces, but raising the young is a shared responsibility. A pack may gather around 40 members with 10 to 15 adults among them. It is a balanced number enough to provide collective protection without scarcity breaking the bonds that hold the group together. Hope returns with the hunters. Unlike lions, where the dominant male eats first, adult wild dogs participate in an ancestral act, regurgitation. They bring back food, delivering the most nutritious portions directly from their own stomachs to those who stayed behind. A bond stronger than any individual force reveals itself in that gesture. Against the shadows moving across the savanna, survival becomes a collective equation. Standing ahead is the buffalo, a colossus capable of crushing any adversary with a single charge. To confront it, the pack needs more than strength, they require total agreement. Everything begins with a signal, a kind of primitive assembly. Pay attention. Do you notice that just before and during these encounters, African wild dogs begin sneezing repeatedly? This is no coincidence. Each sneeze functions as a vote, a collective biological decision. When enough votes are cast, the hunt begins. If not, the pack chooses to stay and conserve energy. A surprising form of consensus in the heart of the wild. A behavior so unusual it left many scientists astonished. But today the target changes. The group turns its attention to different prey. The wildebeest presents a far lesser challenge than the buffalo. Besides, a pack whose members weigh around 30 kilograms does not need a large quantity of meat to survive. Do not expect an explosive burst of speed like the cheetahs. Here, another strategy dominates endurance. Now it becomes clear why the African wild dog achieves hunting success rates of up to 80%. Perhaps nature did not grant them imposing bodies, but it gave them something even more powerful: unity. On this savanna pack, cohesion serves as the ultimate armor, and they know their greatest advantage perfectly well. To deploy it, they need suitable weather conditions that allow them to sustain long, exhausting chases. Life reawakens under the last rays of the sun, while the pups continue sleeping deep inside the den. The caretakers, however, already feel the emptiness in their stomachs. The digestive system of the African wild dog is remarkably fast, ideal for a strategy of striking, retreating, and advancing again. The digestive process completes within 6 to 10 hours. Unlike the spotted hyena, they do not crush large bones, which keeps their stomachs light and efficient. Eating quickly reduces the risk of other predators stealing the kill and allows them to return soon with food for the pups. Today's target is one that always lives under the savanna's constant surveillance: the warthog. Do not underestimate it. The warthog is a formidable fighter armed with sharp tusks. Its system of deep burrows functions as a genuine fortress where every entrance becomes terrain riddled with deadly traps. Tension spreads through the air. Suddenly, the chase erupts amid swirling dust. The mother warthog knows well the African wild dog is not a predator that gives up easily. Once it locks onto a target, it does not stop until it catches it. At least the warthog piglets have the protection of several adults and do not depend on a single mother alone. The warthog barely reaches 50 kilometers per hour. For the African wild dog, that speed poses no obstacle. When one individual falls, what is saved is an entire family. This is how the ruthless beauty of the savanna manifests itself without disguises or concessions. The African wild dog does not specialize in a single prey. It is an adaptable hunter, always alert to opportunities, though it rarely resorts to theft like the hyena. This drive runs through the blood of every pack member, even the youngest. Did you know that each African wild dog possesses a unique body pattern? These markings appear from birth and allow pack members to identify one another from a distance during the hunt. Guided by the alpha pair, they advance through dense brush. Concentration is absolute. The target now is the impala. Observe it closely, a true masterpiece of agility. It can leap up to 3 meters high, cover 10 meters in a single bound, and execute the characteristic pronking, a proud display of strength and vitality. But here it is not about explosive speed, it is about endurance. The real test begins. This is the prey that has earned the African wild dog the title of marathon runner of the savanna. Exhaustion reaches its limit. The African wild dog is not like the lion, which often prefers to surrender to inertia beside the river. When it chooses you, the chances of escape fall below 20%. The power of the pack is so overwhelming that even the king of the savanna thinks twice, the most skilled solitary hunter, perhaps. But facing 20 individuals coordinated with absolute discipline, the king chooses not to intervene. In this territory, individual strength dissolves before the power of unity. Remember the buffalo that the African wild dog left behind at the beginning of this story. During the dry season, these giants never stop moving in search of water, a constant movement that inevitably attracts the attention of predators. But the buffalo is a primitive force so powerful that even the lion sometimes decides not to confront it. This is the territory of Colossi, the absolute opposite of the light, disciplined army. Nearly a ton of pure muscle and a fury that knows no surrender. Under normal conditions, it remains an unattainable prey. Yet upon closer observation, an uncomfortable truth emerges: not all individuals in the herd are adults. Each African wild dog needs only between 2.5 and 5 kilograms of meat per day to survive. In that context, a calf represents far more than what is necessary. The confrontation ended sooner than expected. Perhaps the buffalo was weakened, consumed by days of relentless heat and constant thirst. The mother's hesitation is evident, as is her desperation. But that surrender was paradoxically her only option for staying alive, even if survival meant accepting the inevitable loss of her calf. Because of it, by it, and for it, everything revolves in this merciless circle of the savanna. Unlike the nearly democratic system of the African wild dog, you are now about to cross the threshold into a realm of shadows and absolute authority, the spotted hyena. Do not reduce it to the simple role of scavenger. What exists here is an inflexible hierarchy, cold and perfectly structured. A clan governed by merciless discipline and the total dominance of females. The biological reality that unfolds is astonishing. They are larger, more aggressive, and possess testosterone levels even higher than those of males. In this world, male dignity has no place. Even the lowest-ranking female stands above the strongest male. Males do not truly belong to the clan. They are temporary immigrants who must endure a life of constant trials just to be tolerated. Head lowered, submissive gestures, permanent resignation. That is the price of remaining close to the true sovereigns of the savanna. Unlike the subtle strategy of African wild dogs, the hyena has chosen a direct and brutal path to ensure its survival. Here there is no clean bite to the neck like that of the lion or leopard. Watch how they attack, rapid strikes from every angle. Legs, haunches, any vulnerable point will do. The goal is not to kill immediately, but to bleed the prey until exhaustion overcomes it, even before it understands that the end is inevitable. And to demonstrate their power, many forces of the savanna converge on the same target, the Cape buffalo. Just like African wild dogs, hyenas fix their attention on defenseless calves. Once again, a mother loses the most precious thing she has. The merciless dry season breaks the cohesion of the herd, and hyenas know how to exploit it. The smell of blood spreads and summons the scavengers. From above, the lappet-faced vulture watches patiently, but the hyena is not willing to share. It can digest everything bone skin remains. Exactly like the vulture. In the end, only tiny fragments remain, which ants proceed to erase completely. Nature in silence crosses another name off the race for life. What you have before you is one of the most efficient survival machines evolution has ever created. The path of the spotted hyena begins within its own body. Its interior houses a true biological forge with extraordinarily high levels of stomach acid. Thanks to this, it can digest what would make almost any other animal recoil. Compact bones, horns, hooves. But before reaching the stomach, its primary weapon comes into play, an enormous bite that can reach up to 7,500 newtons of pressure. Yet even this survival machine carries a hidden cost. Dominant females possess a unique anatomy. A genital organ known as a pseudopenis, which is actually an elongation of the clitoris. This characteristic turns giving birth into an extreme ordeal. Cubs must pass through a long, narrow canal which dramatically raises mortality among first-time mothers. It is the price of absolute power. Female dominance within the clan demands severe sacrifices, and among females the struggle never stops. Here, authority is not born from collective agreement but from total submission. In the kingdom of the spotted hyena, the queen rules with firmness and severity. The boundary between leadership and tyranny is fragile. When oppression crosses that line, the clan responds in only one way: together. Against collective force, even the queen can become just another prey. But whoever manages to seize the crown will see her true instinct for domination emerge. Do you expect to find fairness in the distribution of food as happens among African wild dogs? Not here. The dominant female eats first, then her cubs, and the rest learn to wait. Tyranny imposes harsh rules to ensure the continuity of the next generation. This is how the throne is maintained over time. Even so, Tragedy lurks in the darkness of the dens. There is no male protection, no shared caregiving. The mother remains alone, hunter and guardian at the same time. Her absence opens the door to chaos. Cruel, painful, but inevitable. It is natural selection in its most ruthless form. The pain is left behind when the sun begins to descend. The golden hour of the hunt arrives, but today that mother has made a different decision to claim the efforts of others. And on the savanna, the most exposed prey carries an inevitable name, the cheetah. The gaze becomes rigid, concentration absolute. The body flattens against the ground, shoulders brush the earth, the head holds steady while the back arches. Everything is ready for detonation. A golden flash crosses the plain at a speed impossible to follow with the eye. Capturing prey is not the problem. Keeping it, that is a matter of life and death. The great sprinter retreats. Speed comes at a high cost, lightweight bones, non-retractable claws for gaining traction. Too fragile against jaws designed to crush bones. Here, even a minor wound can be a death sentence. And that sentence does not reach only adults. It also hangs over the cubs. Another mother watches from a distance, satisfied, almost mocking the fear of others. But the savanna is made of ironies. From the shadows emerges a dominant silhouette. The king does not need to roar. The message is clear. The one who stole is now the prey. Absolute power imposes its law upon everyone. Even so, the spotted hyena is not a creature that surrenders easily. Nearly 90% of its food comes from its own hunting. But when it decides to act as a raider, no force can stop it against solitary predators. The savanna watches in silence. Here no one is safe for long. Can you guess its name? The leopard, lord of the heights. Even when the trees no longer offer shade, it prefers to observe from above, patient and invisible. Its metabolism is slow. It does not need to confront enormous prey. The impala before it is more than enough. It only needs to avoid the sharp horns. But that calculation shatters the instant a wild cackle cuts through the air like a declaration of war. Now the real hunt begins. And this is no fragile cheetah. This is an elite fighter. Dense muscles, retractable claws, always ready for combat and climbing. In its territory, it also rules. And a king does not tolerate humiliation. A single moment of distraction proves fatal for the hyena. The raider watches helplessly from the base of the tree. Its body is built for endless pursuits across the ground, not for climbing. Losing a kill is bad enough. Losing it twice is an unacceptable affront to the Queens of Darkness. Honor must be restored, and the next target will be sufficient to achieve it. A queen can only measure herself against true kings. As the dry season devours everything in its path, the hyena is fully aware of how many lions are struggling to survive. For lionesses, hunting under these conditions becomes an almost impossible task. And that is where the cunning of the hyena reveals itself. Without the presence of the dominant male, the balance tips entirely in favor of the nocturnal raiders. It is no coincidence that during the dry season, the hunting success rate of lionesses falls below 25%. That single episode is enough to restore lost honor. The Queen of the Night has defeated the Queen of the Savannah. Today, this will be the event everyone talks about. The Savannah observes these thefts with absolute indifference. Each dry season brings new confrontations. But one of the cruelest and most dramatic chapters of this natural chronicle belongs to those who adapt best to hunger. Numerous armies driven by necessity formed in record time. Spotted hyenas always on the prowl. African wild dogs in constant vigilance. Nature granted them opposing weapons for an inevitable clash. The hyena with a jaw capable of pulverizing bones and devastating individual strength. The African wild dog with the strategy of unity and coordinated bursts of speed. And sometimes neither is truly prepared for the trial this merciless world imposes upon them. Hunger leads this mother to the feast of what may be the most powerful army on the savanna. But this time the calculation fails. The dry season suffocates everything. There is no longer room for concessions. The deadly circle closes. The spotted hyena weighs twice as much, but the cohesion of the pack is invincible. The hyena's reaction proves too slow against the unpredictable agility of its rival. Then the arbiter enters the scene. No one understands why the lion would intervene in favor of its greatest enemy. Only nature knows the answers to these wild enigmas. The mother manages to escape, but she returns carrying something worse than wounds the shame of the clan. The most aggressive members do not forget the affront. This time, the army of light skirmishers faces a battalion of heavy mercenaries. The brutality of plunder collides with absolute discipline. The African wild dog moves as a single entity, and therein lies the true secret of collective battles. Why does the smaller prevail over the giant? The answer lies in strategy encirclement from multiple fronts and attacks in rotation. Science explains it clearly. A constant rhythm of charges drives the hyena to exhaustion through overheating. A powerful heart inside a heavy body ends up becoming a burden, two sides of the same coin of survival. No creature is free from weaknesses, not even the African wild dog. And now the end of the dry season approaches. With it, the ideal setting for many battles begins to fade. The revenge of the spotted hyena must come sooner. She knows the pack of African wild dogs will not fall to hunger. They hunt better than any other predator on the savanna, but not everyone shares that advantage. For the leopard, the dry season has made the art of ambush even more difficult. Hunger pushes it dangerously close to the food sources of the African wild dogs. There were no deaths, but one of the unfortunate wild dogs suffered an injury to its leg on the savanna that amounts to a death sentence. Nothing remains hidden for long. The hyena heard the news, and she will not forget the face of the unfortunate one. If not for the presence of the entire pack, its fate would already be sealed. The hyena savors the pain of others. That is her cruelest revenge, not theft. Every individual is an essential piece. And now one of the gears has broken. While the others search for food, perhaps the hyena will leave behind a bone. A gesture of farewell, or a mockery directed at those who dared to challenge the nightmare of the savanna. The war between the African wild dog and the hyena is not merely a conflict of strength. It is a constant battle against shared hunger. Everything unfolds under the watchful gaze of the lion, the only undisputed sovereign of the savanna. But even a king's life is far from simple. When dawn brings a new day, the weight of dominion falls once again upon his shoulders. He is no longer young, nor does he stand at the peak of his splendor. He does not fight out of impulse or personal hunger. He fights for lineage, for territory, for legacy. Calm is never permanent. The guardian must face a constant threat, ambitious young males. Around 3 years of age, males are expelled from their own pride and condemned to wander in search of a kingdom of their own. Along the way, they form coalitions. Now they return as confident invaders, driven by the strength of youth and an arrogance that often surpasses experience. Ruling demands clear rules. Unlike the world of hyenas, where leadership can change without the system collapsing among lions, the fall of the dominant male is usually an irreversible sentence. When the king falls, the entire kingdom crumbles. And when a new coalition takes control, one of the cruelest chapters of the savanna begins. The new males eliminate any trace of the previous regime. Without a father to defend them and with a mother unable to oppose brute force, the cubs become victims. From a biological standpoint, infanticide serves a ruthless but effective function without nursing. The lioness enters estrus more quickly. Thus, the victors can begin imposing their own genetic legacy. The lioness does not possess the dominant strength of the male, but she possesses extraordinary intelligence. To avoid conflicts within the coalition over breeding rights, she adopts a surprising strategy. She becomes insatiable. She may demand up to 300 copulations in just 3 days. By mating with all the dominant males, she creates deliberate confusion about paternity. When the cubs are born, each male believes he is the father, and together they protect the family. The cycle repeats with almost perfect precision. Every sacrifice is a note within an ancient symphony, where balance is maintained under unbreakable laws. After the ghosts of the old empire, a new dawn rises. The lioness's warriors, reborn from the ashes, must carry on. They are tireless hunters responsible for sustaining an entire kingdom. Their bodies are genuine living weapons. Without a heavy mane, they dissipate heat efficiently, and their coats blend perfectly among the dry grasses. Why the zebra? Because it offers exceptional levels of protein and fat, enough energy to sustain the pride for days. But the risk is enormous. A single kick from its legs can shatter the jaw of any predator. Silence breaks with an explosion of force. Collective weight overwhelms the striped giant. The hunt concludes. Sacred order is restored. The male eats first. It is not privilege, it is biological necessity. He must receive the greatest energy load to preserve the strength that makes him the most solid wall against hyenas and invaders. The savanna falls silent after the storm. The rhythm of renewal begins. You stand before the moment when life emerges from darkness. The lioness guardian of hope. Cubs barely a week old. This is the most fragile moment of all. The strategy is now clear. Change dens every 3 or 4 days. Erase any trace of scent. All to prevent death in the form of the spotted hyena from finding the hiding place. At 3 weeks, the first milk teeth begin to appear. Mobility increases. And so do the dangers. Responsibility weighs upon both parents. Sometimes the lion must go out to hunt while the lioness still recovers from giving birth. And so the cycle continues, cruel, perfect, eternal. Many see the lion as an authoritarian and vain figure. But from another perspective, he is a true pillar sustaining the balance of the kingdom. At 6 weeks of age, the cubs officially enter the nursery of the savanna. This marks the beginning of allo-suckling, an extraordinary social behavior based on an almost sacred form of cooperation. Milk is shared and alliances are strengthened even among cubs who are only distantly related. After days hidden from the outside world, the young finally meet their father, the presence before which the entire savanna bows. But this territory is not merely a refuge. It is a relentless school where the hunter's instinct is forged. Here, every mistake transforms into learning. Every clumsy leap is another step toward the throne. Observing these small lives, the design of the Creator becomes evident. The mother was granted the endurance needed to protect the offspring, the bond that will make dominion possible. From choosing the hiding place to the act of sharing milk, every gesture answers to an ancient and immutable law. The wild savanna is governed by a harsh rule: survive between domination and submission. This is how this world without concessions operates. If you ever find absolute calm in some corner of this primitive fortress, there is only one possible explanation: life has already been extinguished there. Because every being that still breathes leaves its survival instinct engraved upon every inch of this land. When the dust finally settles in Kruger, the scars of battle remain visible. The packs continue moving forward, standing tall, carrying not only their strength, but also the weight of every confrontation overcome. Here, pride is not born from violence, but from resilience, from the ability to remain united against the constant chaos of wildlife. The fear these creatures inspire is not without reason. It is the result of generations that learned survival is built shoulder to shoulder, defending every territory, every cub, and every breath of life. In Kruger, a pack does not merely occupy space, it commands presence. Yet even the most powerful groups know that nothing lasts forever. Today they dominate, tomorrow they may fall. That is the silent lesson of these lands. Collective strength can tip the balance, but nature never guarantees victory. Each dawn brings a new challenge, and every step forward is a wager against the inevitable. Across the endless plains of the African savanna, no victory is ever certain. In the natural world, every encounter is a high-stakes gamble where instinct, experience, and a single misstep can determine survival. Each chase becomes a harsh trial of endurance and accuracy, where even the smallest error can turn a hunter into the hunted or grant prey an unexpected chance to escape. In this land, a brief moment of resistance can shatter the balance of power. A sudden turn, a desperate charge, or a split second of hesitation is enough to rewrite the outcome of a hunt that once seemed inevitable. The savanna shows no mercy for mistakes, and it recognizes no absolute dominance. Even the most feared predators must risk everything each time they pursue a meal. At the center of this unforgiving world unfolds one of nature's most intense pursuits, the hunt within the lion's domain. Here, silence becomes a warning. Tall grass conceals danger, and every shadow may signal an attack. Yet even the so-called king of the savanna is not immune to uncertainty. Hunting is an expression of strength, but also of vulnerability where triumph lasts only moments and survival must be earned again and again beneath Africa's relentless sun. Under the merciless African sun, the plains shimmer with heat. Scorching winds twist columns of dust into the air, blurring the horizon and choking the land. Here, life hangs on a delicate balance. A single lapse can mean the end, and even the smallest decision can draw the line between survival and death. Across the open grassland, a buffalo lowers its massive head to graze. Its towering frame and sharp horns form a natural shield, yet in the act of feeding, a weakness is exposed. Just meters away, hidden within the dry grass, a pair of golden eyes remains perfectly still. A pride of lions has been watching for hours, waiting for the precise moment. In this open world, success is not decided by sudden strength, but by patience, timing, and flawless execution. There is no room for mistakes. Heat, relentless heat. Throughout the savanna, the lion sits atop the food chain. Raw power is matched with teamwork refined over countless generations. Together, these traits tip the balance in the endless struggle between hunter and prey. The grasslands are more than a home, they are a battleground where every movement can seal a fate. Every hunt begins in silence. The pride advances carefully, alert to the slightest shift from an antelope or buffalo. Once a vulnerable or isolated animal is identified, the strategy unfolds. Lionesses lead the approach, spreading out to cut off escape routes. As the trap closes, violence erupts. The prey fights back with frantic strength. That is when the males join in, using their weight and force to bring the animal down. Yet the role of the male lion extends beyond brute impact. He is not only the blade, but the spectacle. His dark mane becomes a banner of intimidation, drawing attention, spreading confusion, and breaking horned defenses through fear itself. He is a living distraction shaped by ancestors who learned that some battles are won with terror even before the first strike is made. Even with flawless coordination, success is never guaranteed. Only about 15 to 30% of hunts end in a kill. That is why the pride targets the old, the young, or the injured, choices that lower the risk and conserve precious energy. And when a hunt finally succeeds, the reward is anything but peaceful. The body of a zebra or buffalo quickly becomes a beacon across the savanna. Hyenas arrive, vultures circle overhead, and other scavengers gather, drawn by the scent of blood. This fierce competition plays a vital role in maintaining ecological balance. By keeping herbivore numbers in check, lions prevent buffalo and zebras from overgrazing the grasslands. This natural control allows vegetation to recover and the land to renew itself. In this way, the lion sets the rhythm of the plains. Every stalk through tall grass, every ambush, and every battle over a carcass leaves a lasting mark on the landscape. Under the harsh, sun-scorched skies of Africa, the lion is more than a predator. It is a keystone species holding together the delicate chain of life that defines the savanna. African buffalo move as a single force. They travel in massive herds and rarely break formation. Calves and weaker individuals remain at the core, shielded by an outer ring of powerful adults ready to confront any threat. This formation is driven by instinct, but also by knowledge passed down through generations of survival. More often than not, it is the females who set the course, guided by memory, ancient grazing grounds, and distant water sources mapped in their minds. Adult males take on the role of sentinels, standing guard at the edges. The herd structure is flexible enough to adapt, yet strong enough to endure the harshest conditions the savanna can offer. Buffalo also share close relationships with other species. Oxpeckers perch on their hides, feeding on ticks and parasites embedded in the skin. These birds do more than clean, they serve as early warning systems. Their sharp calls alert the herd to approaching danger. When a predator makes its move, the response is immediate. The herd tightens into a dense circle, horns facing outward. This living barricade is incredibly difficult to breach. Lions and hyenas succeed only if they manage to break the formation or isolate a single animal from the group. Through their daily movements, buffalo shape the ecosystem in countless ways. They regulate grass growth, support large predators, and sustain species that rely on their presence. In the vast plains of Africa, buffalo are more than survivors. They are pillars of balance in a land where life and death are inseparably linked. In the heart of the African grasslands, where survival is a daily battle, a female buffalo faces her ultimate test. With a final surge of strength, her calf enters the world. Drawing its first breath under watchful eyes, some protective, others dangerous. There is no time to recover. From a distance, hyenas move closer in silence, their focus locked on the vulnerable newborn, sensing an easy chance. Exhausted from giving birth but driven by instinct, the mother positions herself between the hyenas and her calf. The predators advance cautiously, snapping and probing, testing her resolve, searching for a moment to pull the calf away. Her body shakes with fatigue, yet she refuses to yield. Each charge is met with a desperate counterattack fueled by the last of her strength. As her energy begins to fade, a powerful figure emerges through the dust. The father has arrived. He charges forward, hooves pounding the ground, horns lowered in defense of his family. The hyenas hesitate. Faced with the combined determination of both parents, their confidence dissolves into restraint. Together, mother and father stand shoulder to shoulder, forming an unbreakable barrier. Having escaped this immediate danger, the buffalo leads her calf across the open plains toward the safety of the herd. But in the wild, safety is never guaranteed. Ahead, two lions materialize without a sound, focused, coordinated, lethal. Moving as one, they begin to circle, their steps deliberate and precise. In a heartbeat, the calm shatters as the lioness launches the first attack. Mother and calf are pushed to the edge of survival. The buffalo twists and bucks in panic, struggling to break free as exhaustion takes its toll. The male lion joins the assault from behind, striking with claws and teeth. Driven by the instinct to protect her young, the mother refuses to collapse. With everything she has left, she fights to escape the tightening trap. The lion slips past the sweeping horn, circles behind, and strikes again. Drained of strength, the buffalo staggers beneath the predator's weight, her breathing ragged and uneven. Just as the struggle seems decided, another lion joins the assault, clamping onto her neck. With one final surge of defiance, she tries to resist. But the jaws of the savanna's ruler close firmly, bringing her fight to an end. The mother's strength fades. Her body collapses under the lion's control. Until her final moment, her determination to protect her calf never wavered. In the realm of the savanna's king, survival is unforgiving, and every second reflects the harsh, relentless beauty of Africa's plains. The dominant lion turns his attention to the calf. Its vulnerability is clear. Instinct overwhelms hesitation. In a swift, decisive motion, he attacks. Claws and teeth end the calf's brief struggle in an instant. The lion claims the first bite. Powerful jaws tear into the buffalo's hide as the rest of the pride watches closely. One by one, they join the meal, easing, if only temporarily, the hunger that governs their lives. Not far away, the male buffalo stands alone. The loss of his mate and calf is etched into his stare, heavy with grief and rage. Yet he is not truly alone. The herd senses his distress and gathers around him, massive bodies united by loss and rising fury. Shared pain hardens into resolve. Suddenly, the buffalo charge. Their hooves thunder across the savanna as they surge toward the lions with overwhelming force. They encircle the bodies of the fallen mother and calf, their fury intensified by loss and the instinct for retaliation. Driven by grief, they pursue the lions, relentlessly advancing like an unstoppable tide. The lions retreat into the tall grass, weaving and dodging the oncoming rush. The former hunters are now forced onto the defensive. Still, the buffalo press forward, crashing through shrubs, lowering their heads and driving ahead with a determination that seems inexhaustible. Cornered, the lions reach a stretch of muddy ground. Their paws sink slightly as they struggle to escape. The buffalo close in dangerously near, but the lions respond with quick leaps and well-timed swipes, avoiding direct impact. Gradually, exhaustion begins to take its toll on the herd. The initial surge of power fades. The terrain favors the lions and the cohesion of the buffalo group starts to fracture. Anger gives way to fatigue. Experience signals retreat. One by one, the buffalo fall back, aware that the cycle of life and death cannot be overturned. The dominant lion stands his ground, watching the herd withdraw, a stark reminder of the fragile balance between predator and prey. A silent exchange passes through the pride. The hunt is not yet over. Their focus shifts to the leader of the buffalo. In a sudden burst of movement, a lion lunges forward, claws extended, driving them into the animal's flank. A fierce struggle erupts. The buffalo twists and lashes out with horns and hooves, fighting desperately to break free. The lions close in around their quarry, each taking a precise position. The outcome is no longer in doubt. Just as the pride prepares to claim the reward of a hard-fought hunt, a new threat emerges. Another group of lions, drawn by the scent of fresh blood, approaches with steady strides and unwavering stares. The air grows heavy with tension. The two prides assess one another, neither willing to retreat. Hunger and survival fuel the confrontation. Lions clash, grapple, and roar, every movement charged with the will to dominate the kill. Then something unexpected happens. Without a sound or signal, an unspoken agreement takes shape. A brief ceasefire. The rivals tolerate one another and share the feast. In this unforgiving land, even enemies are sometimes forced to coexist. Each lion sees in the other the same strength, the same endurance, the same relentless struggle to stay alive. Beneath the surface of the earth, far from the open gaze of the savanna and the relentless sun, a story shaped by struggle begins. We return to the very beginning. Inside a hidden den, spotted hyena cubs are born. Unlike many other predators, they do not enter the world blind or helpless. Their eyes are open, their teeth already formed. This early development is not an innocent advantage, it is a warning. From their first moments, they are prepared for conflict. Even among siblings, survival is fiercely contested. The cubs engage in silent battles, each one striving to assert dominance within an unseen order that governs the entire clan. Every movement, every shove helps define a hierarchy that will shape their future. Cubs born to high-ranking females inherit clear advantages. They feed first, receive greater protection, and are treated with deference. In contrast, the offspring of low-ranking females must fight for every drop of milk, for every moment close to their mother. Inequality here is undeniable and often fatal. In some litters, only a single cub survives. This extreme behavior, known as siblicide, is not driven by cruelty. It is a harsh mechanism of natural selection rooted in the biology of the mother herself. Hyena milk is among the richest in the animal kingdom. Thick, energy-dense, and designed to fuel rapid growth. But it is limited in supply. The struggle within the den ensures that only the strongest and most resilient gain access to this vital resource. For several weeks, the cubs remain underground. They grow in near darkness, building muscle, sharpening instincts, and strengthening both body and mind. Then, between the second and third month, a decisive moment arrives. They emerge into the open world and learn that survival demands more than courage. It requires discipline, endurance, and constant adaptation. On the surface, the entire clan is waiting. What once looked like playful wrestling between siblings quickly turns into hunting practice. The adults watch in silence, serving as living examples. Every movement is closely observed. The young test themselves in short sprints, rehearse ambushes, and practice mock attacks. This phase is decisive. It separates those who will thrive from those who will struggle in the unforgiving reality of the savanna. In the wild African plains where strength often seems to rule fate, the spotted hyena defies familiar rules. Here, power does not belong to the largest males, but to the females. They are natural leaders, relentless strategists. Hyena society is among the most complex of all carnivores, held together by a strict hierarchy that is firm, unforgiving, and deeply ingrained. Power is not challenged every day. It is inherited, maintained, and respected. At the top of this structure stands the alpha female, a matriarch who sets the rhythm of the clan's life. Her authority is rarely questioned. She determines who eats first, who leads the hunt, and who gains access to the best resources. This legacy is far more than symbolic. It shapes survival itself. Males, meanwhile, hold no permanent position. Even the strongest rank near the bottom of the hierarchy. When they reach maturity, they are driven from their birth clan and must seek acceptance elsewhere. They move carefully, display submission, and wait for opportunity. Those who are allowed to stay remain in modest roles, surviving only through the tolerance and approval of the females who truly rule this world. Despite this harshness, there is no chaos. Every member knows its place, and balance is maintained with near military precision. Hyena society is severe yet remarkably efficient. At its core lies one of its greatest strengths: organization. Behind the piercing laughter that cuts through the night stands a body and mind shaped by relentless pressure to survive. The anatomy of the spotted hyena is no accident. It is the product of thousands of years of adaptation. Its build is compact, powerful, and unmistakable. The front legs are noticeably longer than the hind legs, giving the animal its distinctive sloped posture. This design allows explosive bursts of speed and exceptional stability, ideal traits for long pursuits across the uneven terrain of the savanna. The midday sun burns overhead. The lioness has won the hunt, but the battle is far from over. They do not emerge from the shadows, but in full daylight. They advance like a perfectly synchronized unit. At the front stands the clan's matriarch. She does not rush, she calculates, she observes. With a single glance, the formation shifts. The escape route is sealed, the rear is cut off, the trap is closing. The lioness has raw strength. The hyenas have numbers and ruthless tactics refined by experience. Jaws capable of delivering over 450 kilograms of pressure, strong enough to crush not only bone, but the will to keep fighting. In this moment, the balance of power shifts. Here, dominance is no longer about muscle alone. The strongest is not always the biggest, it is the one who organizes best. Not far away, the Tsesebe antelope. One of Africa's fastest runners moves steadily across the open plains. These animals are true ecological trailblazers. As they travel into new areas, they help stimulate the renewal of grasslands. During the dry season, a tsesebe may cover dozens of kilometers in a single day, searching for the scarce water sources that keep life alive. The tsesebe is also known for its strong sense of curiosity. Instead of fleeing instantly, it may pause to scan its surroundings, a behavior as captivating as it is risky. Though its build can appear somewhat awkward, this antelope is capable of sustaining speeds close to 90 kilometers per hour over long distances. Instinct urges escape, but sometimes even that is not enough to outrun an extraordinary predator. Then the cheetah enters the scene, the fastest land animal on Earth yet, also among the most vulnerable. Its evolutionary journey began millions of years ago, shaped by a singular choice, extreme speed and precision, at the cost of brute strength. Females typically live alone, while males often form small coalitions, frequently with brothers. These alliances improve their hunting success and help them defend territory. Once the prey locks into its field of vision, the cheetah's spine coils like a spring under tension. In just 3 seconds, it explodes from stillness to nearly 95 kilometers per hour. Each stride releases pure energy. Its lungs expand to their limit, and a powerful heart drives oxygen-rich blood through the body to sustain the sprint. With a perfectly timed leap, the cheetah brings its target down in a moment of silent shock across the savanna. Even while gasping for breath, the cheetah must eat quickly. Lingering too long invites danger, as other predators may steal the hard-earned kill. The early years of a cheetah's life are filled with constant threats. Mothers give birth in carefully hidden shelters to avoid detection. The cubs are born incredibly fragile, making them easy targets for lions, hyenas, and even snakes. Cub mortality can be devastatingly high, reaching up to 90%. Only when the young are strong enough to keep pace with their mother and begin learning the skills of the hunt do their chances of survival improve. Despite standing at the top of the food chain in terms of speed, the cheetah's life is anything but easy. Its role in nature is crucial. By controlling prey populations, the cheetah helps maintain balance within the ecosystem. By targeting weaker or more vulnerable individuals, it supports the overall genetic health of herbivore species across the savanna. In this way, the cheetah is not just a symbol of speed, but a key guardian of ecological stability. High above the Miombo woodlands, a massive shadow glides in complete slants. It is the lappet-faced vulture, an imposing presence that seems to stand watch over the thin line between life and death. This species is the last living representative of an ancient lineage within its family, shaped by millions of years of evolution in some of the harshest environments on Earth. In the air, its movement is calm and almost invisible. On the ground, it commands instant respect. Its large, exceptionally powerful beak can tear through the toughest hides and sinews with ease. A small antelope can be stripped down to bare bones in less than 20 minutes. Faced with this dominant scavenger, even hyenas and jackals often step aside rather than challenge it. Its appearance is unmistakable. Dark feathers frame a bare head flushed with a deep pink hue. This featherless skin is no accident. It helps maintain cleanliness and allows the sun to act as a natural disinfectant after feeding on decaying remains. Unlike many other vultures, this species is typically solitary or lives in pairs. It forms strong monogamous bonds and builds its nests high in trees where both parents share the responsibility of raising their young. Each breeding season, the pair produces just a single egg, which is carefully incubated for roughly 55 days. The chick develops slowly, taking about 4 months to make its first flight and may require up to 6 years to reach full maturity. This slow life cycle makes every new generation especially valuable. Its diet is far more diverse than many people assume. While carrion remains its primary food source, this vulture is also capable of capturing small live prey and even raiding flamingo nests when the opportunity arises. Such dietary flexibility is vital, particularly during harsh dry seasons when food is scarce and competition is intense. Contrary to popular belief, vultures do not rely on their sense of smell. Instead, they possess extraordinary eyesight. From altitudes exceeding 1,000 meters, they can spot the faintest signs of death on the ground below. By rapidly consuming carcasses, they prevent the spread of dangerous bacteria and disease, playing a crucial role in maintaining the health and balance of African ecosystems. Spotted figures begin to emerge across the vastness of the plains. They are African wild dogs, tireless hunters of the Miombo woodlands. Each individual wears a unique pattern of black, brown, and white markings. No two are alike. Their society is exceptionally cohesive and led by a dominant alpha pair. Cooperation within the pack is so precise that it grants them extraordinary hunting success. As the sun sets, one of the savanna's most efficient predators sets into motion. Their strategy does not rely on ambush, but on endurance, coordination, and teamwork. Their large, rounded ears function like biological antennas, helping them dissipate heat and detect even the faintest sounds in their surroundings. During the chase, they encircle the prey and maintain constant pressure, gradually pushing it toward panic and exhaustion. Fleeing is a natural instinct, but prolonged pursuit is the wild dog's specialty. In the end, completely spent, the prey stumbles and falls before the pack. The feeding is swift. They must eat quickly before competitors such as hyenas or lions detect the scent. Adults carry portions of meat back to the den to feed the pups and any injured or weaker members of the group. The African wild dog plays a vital role in maintaining ecosystem balance. Its existence reveals the subtlety of nature, where every species, no matter how discreet or fierce, occupies an indispensable place. Amid the dry grass and cracked earth, the white rhinoceros moves forward with a heavy yet silent gait. Its name can be misleading. It does not refer to color, but comes from the African word wid, meaning wide, a reference to its broad mouth. Weighing close to 2,500 kilograms, it is the second largest land mammal on the planet, surpassed only by the elephant. Unlike the black rhinoceros, this species usually lives in small groups made up of females and their calves. Adult males, by contrast, establish their own territories, which they defend through scent markings. The gestation period is long, around 16 months, and the calf remains with its mother for the first 2 or 3 years of life. This very slow reproductive rhythm makes the population especially vulnerable to any threat. Although its behavior is generally calm, the white rhinoceros can react with surprising speed. If it senses danger, it is capable of reaching speeds of nearly 50 kilometers per hour to protect its calf. For this reason, the loss of even a single individual has serious consequences for the entire population. By the end of 2024, it was estimated that around 17,400 southern white rhinoceroses remained in the wild. This figure represents an extraordinary recovery compared to the late 19th century, when the species was on the brink of extinction, with fewer than 100 individuals left alive. However, poaching for their horns remains a constant threat that continues to put their future at risk. On the African savanna, every battle ends without promises of eternal victory. In the natural world, no power is absolute and no triumph lasts forever. Each hunt pushes instinct to its limits and punishes the smallest mistake. One miscalculated step, a second of hesitation, or a delayed reaction can completely change the fate of both hunters and prey. Here, a single moment of resistance can shake the established order. Those who seem destined to fall sometimes find the strength to defy the inevitable. The savanna reminds us that survival does not always belong to the strongest, but to those who manage to adapt, endure, and seize the right moment. In this unforgiving arena, life is sustained by decisions made in fractions of a second. If these stories of struggle, uncertainty, and survival move you, subscribe to Beast Call Nature, give the video a like, and join us on more journeys into the heart of the wild, where every story is written under the oldest law of all: to survive.